Here we are, man. So not too much time going to be spent on this, but we have been doing oils and stuff for the last couple months, and this came out yesterday, March 6th, 2025 in JAMA, and people are pissed about this online.
Oh my gosh.
Let me tell you what, like I haven't seen the amount of just distress over a single thing coming out in a while, probably since the last time the same thing. So it's basically the same thing that we've looked at before. Nurses Health Study 1 and 2 and Health Professionals Follow-Up, and the links to diabetes and all the other things. So this, people just don't like these don't like these results from these three cohorts coming out here. But higher butter intake was associated with increased total cancer mortality, while higher intake of plant-based oil was associated with lower total cancer and cardiovascular disease mortality. And so overall thing here, you can look at the results here, but yeah, people who eat more butter tended to die more often. And so overall takeaways here: higher intakes of plant-based oils had a 17% reduction in total mortality and a
Yeah.
17% reduction in cancer mortality.
So for you and I, that's not a surprise. But people don't like to be told that their butter is bad. Oh
Yep.
wow, bad butter.
Yeah. Oh, and it just is like they're going off the rails. And I saw Zoe Harcum, and she was like, "Oh, I figured out the trick here. The highest intake of butter. So the highest intake of butter was only 1% of the total thing, and so she thinks that they're comparing that one quintile to the rest of it. And no, we're comparing quintile 1 to quintile 5, the highest
Right.
versus the lowest. And if
Right.
you right, so the people who ate the least amount compared to the people who ate the most amount
Right.
tended to live
Longer.
17% more.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, that's what happens. You know,
There you go.
what actually happens when people eat more butter? They die more often.
Yep.
That's the results from that study.
Yep. And that's more than and that's more than just like cooking in it. I mean,
Right, yes.
that cookie that's loaded with
It's yeah.
that's loaded with butter.
Yep.
Woo!
Yep. Yep, that's that. That's butter on your toast. That's cooking your eggs in butter. All of that stuff. So, man, it is National Nutrition Month, and I thought that it might be cool to talk about, namely, two things that I feel has helped my overall nutrition within the last couple months. So the first one just being Chronometer. So
Yep.
Chronometer I find to be a fantastic little tool here because of the exceptionally large database of food and nutrients. And we can even just look at a couple of things here. So they do use several databases that they pull this information from. And, for given foods, we can look at all of these vitamins, minerals, macronutrients, really, really comprehensive database. And so any logging tool where you're going to be putting all your information into and getting an overall report and an overall view is going to be great. So one thing that I do really, really like about Chronometer, let's go to yesterday. This is my Chronometer account for everybody. And we can log stuff in here. So high is something that I put in before, and it just syncs in there every day through Apple Health. You can put your body weight in there, track body fat. Now mine says 28.4, but that's because it's coming from my scale. And electric impedance scales going through your feet are notoriously bad at being
Suspect for
accurate.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when you start to get lower percentage of body fat. So I don't pay too much attention to body fat number, but overall my body weight, and then I'll check my my waist circumference and stuff manually. But this automatically logs it, and so that's a nice feature of Chronometer is that if you have a scale that uses a Bluetooth app and it logs it into your phone, and you let Apple Health, that's so I have Apple products. If you let Apple Health pull data from that app, it'll log in there, and then Chronometer, you can actually have everything downloaded in there automatically. All right, and let's see. I didn't take it yesterday, but I have an app where I track my blood pressure, so blood pressure goes in there as well. And then we can look at these nutrition scores and certain highlighted nutrients. All right. And some of these I did put in. So vitamin A, like, am I concerned with that? Not too much. B12, I'm not concerned with that either. Folate, not so much. These are just kind of the default things. And you could take them in and out and change what is important to you up here. But you can get an overall view of things like your overall vitamins, overall minerals, overall electrolytes. And you'll notice that mine is up there 97%, even though
Hmm.
my sodium isn't all that high because I understand that as an overall aspect, as part of overall nutrition, salt is not the only freaking electrolyte.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I
and
gotta
then
have
you get
more
these,
salt.
I've got to have more salt, electrolytes, salt. And you get a breakdown of everything. And I like the protein here. It breaks it. You can add the non-essential amino acids, but it does give you all your essential amino acids. So you can check all that out. All your fats, you got cholesterol, phytosterols. You can track all of this stuff. Some of it's not really that important to track, like phytosterols. There's just a lot of foods that don't provide that information. And then the same thing with the protein, the amino acids here. Sometimes mine will say that I don't hit all of my targets for the day, but that's only because whatever it is that I'm logging just doesn't report all of those individual amino
Hmm.
acids. So, but there is stuff that we're concerned with: sodium intake, potassium intake. If you're a man, certain things like zinc and selenium, magnesium, iodine, which was, not always reported on a lot of things, but it's hard to hit that iodine target. But we're going to talk about that, man. So, chronometer. All
Hold on
right.
that thought.
Yeah,
Hold on
go
that
ahead.
thought. Go back down to that bottom section. So for those of you that are listening, one thing about Chronometer is like we're looking at minerals, and Coach is going to put that his cursor on magnesium. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Function and sources. And so as a lot of us like worry about, oh my gosh, well man, maybe maybe I need more lysine, or man, selenium. Where do I find that? Well, he just slides down there, and on Chronometer, it'll tell you sources and function of each of those nutrients. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, you can hover over just the word here. It'll tell you the sources and all, and the function of it. And then if you slide yourself over to the bar here, it will
Yep.
actually tell you what it is that you've eaten that has contributed towards your
Yep.
intake for that day.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right. So on that note, over on the left-hand side here, under foods, and this is on the phone app too, we have suggest food. And if I click on that, okay, I can select certain filters. So I would be selecting vegan. Maybe I'm interested in breakfasts. And this should automatically like exclude certain things, but let's go ahead and we'll just exclude these things for me. Shellfish
Dude,
I'm
I've got to
fine
tell you,
with.
I've never used that. I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And so it will give you some suggestions here. So this first thing it pulls up, tofu scramble with kale and red pepper, 401 calories, 37 and a half grams of protein, 21 and a half grams of carbs, 21 and a half grams of fat. We can look at the ingredients, and then it gives you the breakdown of all these things. So estimated highlighted nutrients,
Hmm.
and it'll tell all that stuff for you, estimated nutrition scores. Look at all that stuff.
That's
All right.
awesome.
Yeah, and it'll give you a few options, and then you can also just, hey, give me some other results, and it'll give you more. All right.
I got to use
Um,
that.
yeah, and then we also have Ask the Oracle. The Oracle is kind of cool. So if I'm concerned with increasing my potassium intake, right, we can find the top 25 sources and rank it by. So you have the Oracle, or you have the highest amount per calorie, or the highest amount per gram. I would really be concerned with per calorie. You could also just ask the Oracle, and you can select all categories here. And we can search, and we can see per calorie. This sparkling water that's artificially sweetened has 104 milligrams of potassium per calorie. And look down through here, baking powder. Now, the problem with some of these recommendations that I give you is like baking powder, you just don't use enough baking powder to actually get a significant amount of this. All right. But you can come in and look down through here and see some things that you actually can include. So, clam juice, mollusks, clams, mixed spices, canned, and the liquid. So, this would just be mixed canned mollusks, clams, and stuff, right? Cream of tartar, a Burger King coffee, bamboo shoots, butterbur. I don't know what butterbur is.
I thought that said
A rock
butterbutt. I'm
star.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so you can just play around with this. I normally wouldn't select all categories because you're not going to be interested in eating baby foods, right? So, cereals, grains, and pastas, finfish, shellfish, let's see, fruits and fruit juices,
Legumes.
legumes, nuts and seeds, vegetables, and we can search that. All right, and you can see we get a thing here. So spinach, watercress, chard, um, more spinach, tomatoes. So this will show you, and it kind of gives you a ranking here. You got the little bar indicator, right? So you can search for individual nutrients and see what are some things that you can add to your diet to increase those specific things. So some, a lot of people are low in the potassium there. A lot of people low in zinc. Um, Magnesium's a big one. I know a lot of people who take magnesium supplements because they can't hit their magnesium targets every day, and we can just look through here. Okay, what can I eat more of to increase my magnesium intake for the day? So pretty cool stuff with Chronometer. The second thing that I want to talk about that I've been using for a couple months here is Huel. So Huel has several different products that they have here, and we can go down. So I have been using the Black Edition, and I don't know if I've been using the Super Blend. I've been taking their Daily Greens. Okay, so Black Edition and Daily Greens. They also have these hot savory meal packs, which are pretty good. Um, it's like a camping meal ready to eat. You just add hot water to it, and they're not bad. The couple of them that I've had, I haven't had everything. Um, but they also have these nutrition bars, complete nutrition bars. And I will tell you, I have had the peanut caramel, and that one is delicious. And I think I've had the chocolate caramel. Now that one's not as delicious. That definitely tastes like a meal replacement bar.
Bah.
Not gonna lie, it's not delicious. The peanut caramel though, ooh, buddy, that's a candy bar. But it does have, 27 vitamins and minerals. Um, it's not super high in protein, so I wouldn't call it a protein bar based on how many calories it has. But for a snack, 14 grams of protein, I want to say it's like 190 calories. It's not bad. And the amount of nutrition that comes in there, it's not bad. All right. But yeah, so the Huel Black here, man, 400 calories, about I think 440 maybe, and 40 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and it's a shake. You mix it up. Now I've had the chocolate and the vanilla and the strawberry shortcake. I just had to reorder and I ordered the cinnamon roll, so I'm going to try that one next. Strawberry shortcake is not bad. Again, coffee or chocolate and vanilla, they're just kind of meh. They're not
Mm.
good. They're not bad. It's not a tasty thing, so it's not, it's not specifically something that you look forward to. So, but I will show you what I've been doing with it that improves it. So the greens in this, I haven't tried the superfood or the super blend here. I've been doing the daily greens, and that by itself, it tastes like powdered vegetables. Not gonna lie.
That doesn't sound really appealing to me. Let's go back and talk more about strawberry shortcake. That appeals to me.
Strawberry shortcake. Strawberry shortcake. It's not bad, man. For what it is, I mean, it's not bad, you know. And so this black edition here, this is, I mean, it's basically ground up food here. Okay, so what are they doing? The protein source is coming from pea protein, which is a good protein source. Okay,
Mhm.
so most vegan protein sources are going to come from a blend of things, but it's going to be pea protein. Um, and you'll also have soy protein in there, and some people might add some pumpkin to it or whatever. But most of the time, you get a pea protein, which has a high amounts of all of those individual amino acids. They add flaxseed in there, and this contributes to the omega 3. You're going to look at the omega 3s here in a second. The
Right.
brown rice protein, and so these are protein isolates. So they take the protein, they isolate that from peas and brown rice, and that's what they're adding as the protein source. You got coconut in there. They got a whole bunch of different food sources that they put in there. All right. And so let's go back to my chronometer here. And we're going to add for the day here. So the way I've been doing this, so I tried them individually by themselves, right? So I was taking basically two drinks. I would add the daily greens into 500 milliliters of water, which is like, two cups of water. And I would drink that. And then I would make the Huel Black as a separate shake. And I would drink that. And individually, okay, they're not great. They're not so bad that I dislike it, but I just didn't look forward to having them. Okay. What I have been doing is I've been combining everything together in a blender and mixing it up with some frozen berries. And that, buddy, let me tell you what, I
Mm.
actually enjoy that a lot.
Mm.
All right, so let's look at the daily greens here. All right, so just adding daily greens. So one serving of the daily greens. We look at all targets. So about 30% of all targets, 73% of our vitamins, 30% of our minerals. Not a lot of electrolytes in there, but that's not what it's meant to do. Uh, Around 60% of our immune support, and we can see a lot of stuff. And so it's very high. So the B12, the vitamin C, vitamin A, and the iron. All right. So as we look down through here, we can see that that one scoop for a lot of these different vitamins, we're
Mm.
getting 100% or more than 100% on a lot of these things. So zinc,
Ooh,
very important
zinc.
here.
Good. Yeah, good number 136.
All right. So that's just the daily greens. Now, I also take this with my Huel Black. All right. So let's look at the strawberry shortcake because I like that one the best out of what I've looked at. All right. So now what does that change us to? So all targets, we're almost half of our all targets. All right. Vitamins significantly up, minerals significantly up, our immune support, metabolism support. We're looking at we're at 30% of our potassium for the day. Now, this is 30% of my potassium intake, and I have changed my potassium intake to 4,700 milligrams per day because of high blood pressure. Now, for most people, you're looking at 3,500, and
Hmm.
so so just that is going to have a bigger contribution to your potassium intake for the day. All right. But iron, we're at 170%. Vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin B12. We're going to talk about this a little bit later on because there's lots of people out there who are going to be going, oh, well, these are coming from plant sources or they're from supplements and your body doesn't absorb all that stuff. We're going to look at it. All right. So looking through here already, like this already, just the Huel, just one serving of the Huel Black Edition and the daily greens is looking better than most people's intake for the day. All
Yeah.
right. And now, as I was telling you about like the individual amino acids here, so Huel doesn't provide that. We don't get that. And so you would see, even if I was to hit all my targets, it would still show some of these low. And that's just because they don't report it. All right. But the one thing I do want to point out here that I have noticed a drastic improvement is my iodine intake. Okay. Iodine is important for functions in your body. One of those things, all right, your, I can't hover over it here, but body temperature and metabolic rate. All right. So, people, if you're consistently hot or cold, you feel that way, and maybe you feel like you have a slow metabolic rate, iodine does improve with that stuff. It does help with thyroid function. Okay. And so, Huel here, 51%
Wow.
between these two things. 51% of my iodine intake is accounted for just in these two things.
Wow. 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 That's awesome.
Yeah.
And while people, and that sounds high to some people for, well, it may sound high to some people, but like you were saying earlier, that some of us, maybe most of us, we don't even get that in our daily meals.
Yeah, people are notoriously low in iodine intake. Okay,
That's
um,
me.
and
Yeah.
and that is exactly why our salt sources have been fortified with iron. You have iodized salt,
Right.
and now you have a bunch of people online telling you not to consume that, and instead to consume pink Himalayan sea salt, which doesn't have the same concentrations of iodine.
Right.
And we wonder why all these people consuming red sea salt are constantly complaining about feeling tired and lethargic and
Yeah.
all this stuff also. So,
Yeah.
all right, that's important. Our omega 3s, remember that flaxseed? 6.5 grams of omega 3s here. Now, omega 3s, so the main sources that people are concerned with is DHA, EPA, and oh, what's the third one? Anyway, DHA and EPA, and those are mainly found. The main source that's you're told about is from things like fatty fish and eggs. However, you can get that from algae oil. So an algae oil supplement provides all of the same omega 3s as eating fish. But we do convert. So this is a plant-based source of omega 3. This would be ALA, alpha linoleic acid. And we do convert that over to EPA and DHA in your body. And the omega 3 sources here is super high, 6.5 grams.
Quite a bit.
You know, that,
406%.
yeah, 406% of your recommended intake. So omega 3s are have been shown to reduce inflammation, so chronic inflammation, and specifically inflammation and pain from things like arthritis. We go back to our arthritis and pain episodes. Higher intakes of omega 3s associated with less pain with all that stuff. We're getting a ton of omega 3s from this thing here. All right. Vitamin E, which is an antioxidant. Okay. Um, 153% of our vitamin E. Vitamin K. Now, vitamin K is important for preventing blood clotting and building bones. It's also important for vasodilation. So, dealing with blood pressure here. A lot of us are dealing with blood pressure issues. So, the ability of your artery walls to relax and expand.
Hmm.
Okay, vitamin K is associated with that too. And so we have a couple of sources of vitamin K, and you're going to hear online that animal based sources are higher in vitamin K, blah, blah, blah. But the The type of vitamin K in animal sources, which is the MK7, I believe,
Mhm.
is not even bioavailable. So we do have trials where we've supplemented. So you have MK4 and MK7. Those are the two that we're most concerned with. And the type that we get from plant sources actually is shown to increase serum levels of vitamin K. And when we use the vitamin K from animal sources, we don't see changes in serum levels.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Right.
the vitamin K that we're getting here, we're going to talk about the iron. The iron content between the Huel things here is wild. So just between the black edition and the daily greens, we're at 170%. And that is quite high. And I was concerned about it. I need to go donate blood, but we're going to talk about some of this stuff here. All right. So I take the Huel Daily Greens, the Huel Black Edition, and I put that in. Let me add the rest of my stuff here. I put some soy milk in there, and I do 2 cups of soy milk and then 1 cup of water. And great value. Let's see if it'll bring it up. Oh, not Anita. Anti. My great value antioxidant fruit blend. I have 2 cups of that. And then I also throw in a scoop of protein powder, cinnamon toast. I
Mhm.
don't know why I typed that down there. All right. And so, what that one shake, I put that all in one shake, and that gives me 6 cups of shake. Okay. Folks, I have this for breakfast. I am full for a good portion of the day. All right. So 900 calories, 84 grams of protein. And where we're at for the day, you can look at all of these targets. All right. So 64% of my targets, 88% of my vitamins, 84% of my minerals, 63% of the electrolytes, 60% of my potassium intake. And again, mine is set higher than everybody else's. And all these other things, 520% of my vitamin B12 for the day, 220% of my iron, 60% of my fiber. And yeah, man, things are looking pretty darn good here with just that one shake for the day,
That's awesome.
right? And
Yep.
the biggest thing I've noticed is the sodium content. So changing out what I have been eating, my sodium content has gone down quite a bit. And so let's look at my nutrition report for the last 8 weeks, which is about how much I've been taking Huel. So my energy intake has gone down to 17, about 1,800 calories. So I was easily consuming between 2,000 and 2,300 calories a day. And it went down to 1,800 calories. My protein intake, I'm right on target for that. And, my carbs and fats are a little low, but that's why my overall energy intake has gone down. So for all the targets, all right, 85%, which I feel hitting all of the all vitamins, all minerals, all macronutrients, all of that. 85% is not too shabby. It can improve. Okay, so looking at this today, I am going to focus more on my potassium and my fiber. So I've been kind of focused on more of a bodybuilder esque diet where it's just mainly been like protein, 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 and I haven't been eating you know, larger sources of potassium and fiber. So I'm going to work on that going forward. Um, Electrolytes here, 83%, immune support, 93%, vitamins and minerals. All right. And yeah, so I've been thoroughly impressed with everything. So over the past 8 weeks, I get about 6 grams of omega-3 per day. My omega-6s is 10 and a half. And so omega 3 to omega 6 ratio, you hear that all day long on the internet. Well, come at me, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The people out there eating steak and eggs every day are not seeing the same omega-3 to omega-6 ratios that I am.
Right.
All right. Sodium intake, I think I have mine set at 2000. So it's been around 2400 milligrams, which is under our current recommendations, or right around there. So 2500 milligrams a day, or I think it's 2300 milligrams per day. So I'm, right around that target. But we have been a lot of birthdays and a lot of days where we've been going out. So some things that have contributed here is I've been going to Culver's and getting the shrimp dinner, because it's one of the only things I can have there, and that's been contributing quite a bit here. And then a couple of these pizzas. So that's been contributing, but even taking those into account, and I've been having those more often than I would like, but my, sodium intake is still where the recommendations are, and I
Mhm.
would like to see that go down quite a bit more. I'd like to see it under 2000. So I'm gonna work on that too. I'm just gonna say no to the eating out for the next couple months here and see what happens. And then all of these individual amino acids. Again, Huel doesn't provide those, so you're gonna see that lysine here shows low, but it's actually fine. So overall, I have been enjoying Huel. Um, it's helped my energy intake come down a little bit, and then we can go to my charts here. Let's see. So what I have noticed with my blood pressure is I started tracking that in um, a separate deal. So I've been looking at the 30-day averages, and so from December to January, of course, December was a lot of you know
Holiday stuff. Yeah.
holiday stuff. So my blood pressure was a little bit higher. I had more peaks in the over 140, 145 range on the systolic, and then it was 90, 95 diastolic. But in January, it came down. So my 30-day average was, I think, 133 over like 84. And then February last month, my 30-day average for systolic was 130 over 83. So a small drop in each of those things. And then my blood pressure app keeps a rolling 30-day average. And so checking my blood pressure today, my 30-day average dropped to 129. So my systolic blood pressure has dropped 4 millimeters of mercury. Now, 5 millimeters of mercury on an individual level here would be clinically meaningful.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
true.
and holding that sustained. So I do see a contribution to my blood pressure, specifically these 30-day averages. So from January 1st till today, I've seen a reduction of 4 millimeters of mercury in my systolic blood pressure. And really the only thing that I've changed is taking Huel. And I think that I can improve that even more by reducing my sodium intake. So not having those high sodium meals when we're going out to eat, and increasing my potassium intake. And again, I was focused on mainly a kind of bodybuilder type of thing. So I would have my shake, and then I was eating basically just like canned um, oysters, canned mussels, and an entire block of tofu. And that's been kind of it. So I can improve on some stuff. And we looked at my diary for yesterday, and so yesterday my protein intake was a little bit low. And I can work on that, but my potassium intake, I got all my potassium in, and I hit my fiber goals. So increasing potassium, increasing fiber, and decreasing sodium. So yesterday sodium was about 2200. All right, all that's gonna help. And what I changed yesterday is, instead of just eating an entire block of tofu, I added some beans and I added some canned artichoke, and I added some Kalamata olive. So I had one meal of those things, and that brought me where I needed to be here. Um, and so switching some of those things out for different things, I can get that sodium intake down a little bit lower. So I'm pretty happy with Huel, brother. Not gonna
Yep.
lie.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And then looking at weight, so I have seen a small amount of weight loss, and but the body fat, again, this is coming from my scale. So even though my weight didn't really change that much, we can see that there has been a pretty good drop in body fat percentage over the course of this, which means that my weight not changing, I am losing fat and gaining muscle, which is something that I want to be seeing. And then again with the scale thing, so these two measurements, this was taken at 8:27 a.m. and this one was taken at 8:41 a.m. And you see that change in body fat,
Mm,
28.4 to
wow.
26.5. Like,
Yeah.
did I gain 2% body fat in a matter of 20 minutes? No. So that's
I was
why I
going to
don't
ask you
trust the
how you
scale
do
on
that
that.
magic right there. It's like
Yeah.
we need to put
So
that in a bottle.
yeah, it's okay for tracking trends. What I want to see is that trend going down. I don't really, you know, give too much credence to the actual number. Now, I was interested if there was any research into some of these powdered meal replacements. So we have seen work through Roy Taylor, um, where he had powdered meal replacements in helping diabetes. All right. So not reversal. What's the other word? Remission, putting diabetes into remission. So we're looking at clinical terms here, not this made up internet term of reversal. Remission, and they use a lot of powdered meal replacements. So there actually is a pilot study here on Huel specifically. It's 4 weeks long, and we had 30 or so, 30 participants who were, we would consider them to be normally healthy people. And they took for 4 weeks. They consumed solely Huel powder, so nothing but Huel. And so they looked at what happened to serum changes in their nutrient levels. And so uh, pretty cool stuff here. So they scored stuff on a basis of a maximal score of 100, minimal score of 0 if the intakes were above or below certain things. And so looking at the changes here, some things that they did notice. So in a small increase in hemoglobin. So this is think about this as your red blood cells carrying oxygen. Okay, so a small increase in that. Sodium concentrations in your blood didn't really change all that much. Calcium didn't change all that much. Small drop in HbA1c. Now, this one is a little bit tricky here because HbA1c is a 3-month measurement. And this trial was 4 weeks long. And so what this drop equates to is about 0.1%. Um, I calculated this out. I think this was 5.3. So at week 0 is 5.3. And at week 5, so it'd be 4 weeks on Huel, this comes out to about 5.2%. So in freedom units, we got about a 0.1% drop in HbA1c. So again, HbA1c is a measurement of 3 months of glycated hemoglobin. So we wouldn't expect to see much of a drop. But I think that we would anticipate seeing after 3 months that probably would be a little bit more of a drop. Um, so I think fasting glucose may have been a better measurement for them to take rather than HbA1c, but this is what we get. Total cholesterol dropped. HDL cholesterol stayed relatively the same, small drop there. Our non-HDL cholesterol had a pretty good drop. All right, so this is all in millimoles, 3.3 to 2.24, and that's not bad in 4 weeks. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Iron status increased a little bit. Now, that's interesting to note because all of the iron in Huel is coming from non-heme sources. And you'll hear
Hmm.
online, right? Oh, we have to eat meat because it contains heme iron. That's the most bioavailable. Well, turns out if you eat nothing but iron from non-heme sources, you can improve your iron status. All right, vitamin A, small drop there. Everything stayed within range though. Okay. So one of the things that they did notice is that all of the participants were marginally low in their vitamin D status. And they did see an increase back up in that nice normal range from only consuming Huel. All right. So some other things here, vitamin E, we did see that was pretty high, but that dropped as far as serum, what's in your blood levels. Vitamin C increased.
Folate,
But,
vitamin B12. Yeah.
Vitamin B12, yes. So this was the other one here. So vitamin B12. So everybody going into this was basically consuming omnivorous diets. Okay, so they are consuming meat, dairy, and eggs, and their vitamin B status increased after 4 weeks of only consuming Huel. Now the reason
Right.
for that is we hear, oh, B12 is we can only get it from animal sources. Well, it turns out the
Yeah.
best way to improve your B12 status is by consuming the supplemental form, specifically cyanocobalamin, which is what Huel uses.
Yeah.
Cyanocobalamin is more bioavailable, it's more easily absorbed, and it's more easily used in your body than the
Yeah.
sources that you'll find in meat. And so
Yeah.
that's why we see this increase here. And again, like 60% of Americans are marginally deficient in vitamin B12.
Yeah.
Okay, so not too bad here. So potassium levels decreased a little bit. Thyroid stimulating hormone decreased, but everything is in normal ranges. And yeah, they give you a bunch of data on what they saw. And then this one's pretty cool here. So the changes in nutrients. So this is where they scored everything on that scale of 0 to 100. All right, so baseline is the blue bars, and then intervention is the orange bars. And we can see pretty much everything, either increased or stayed relatively the same. BMI, so there was a small drop in BMI. Now they estimated energy intake for all the participants and then, told them, here's your energy requirements. Almost nobody could meet their energy requirements. So almost everybody lost weight. I think a couple of people gained weight. Almost everybody saw reductions in their visceral adipose. So that's the fat around your organs. A
Hmm.
couple of people saw increases. Um, and waist circumference. Uh, Two participants of 20 showed an increase in waist circumference. Meanwhile, 16 showed a decrease. And I think there would have been a couple of people here, would have been 4 people who saw no change, right? Oh, 2 participants saw no change.
Ease that up just a little bit there. So we're looking at the time over a week, and so that if I'm reading that right, there's an
Over,
increase right off the bat, but then over the period of a week, it all everybody goes down. Not everybody, but most people go down. Did I read that correctly? So right there at the beginning of the week in the time, you have all those guys up above that
uh,
zero line. But then as you go to like day five or yeah, about day five, you see that drop that I'm looking
well,
at?
so the first dot is week 0.
Okay, weeks then. Okay, not
Yeah, so
days.
so this is over 4 weeks, and they only took 3 measurements. So at week 0, which nobody was consuming Huel, they took their initial
Right.
measurement, and then
Okay.
at week 1,
Right.
this is what happened, and then
Yep.
4 weeks later, this is what happened.
Yeah.
So uh, compared to week 1, all
And this
right,
is all
all
waist circumference.
this is waist circumference. Yeah, so compared to week 1, almost everybody, well, basically everybody, no, this one goes up. Almost everybody saw reductions compared to week 1, but compared to baseline, where everybody first came into the trial, nobody was consuming Huel yet.
Mhm.
Almost everybody saw reductions, right? So two
Yeah.
participants showed an increase and 2 participants showed no change compared to week 0, which leaves 16% or 16 participants showed a decrease. All right. So, and that's going to be normal with any kind of dietary intervention. You're going to see some people improve, some people not improve. And so what we see here is that out of 30 people, almost everybody saw
Improved.
improvements in their waist circumference, in their visceral fat tissue,
Right, right.
and their overall body weight. So we saw
Hmm.
BMI reductions here of about 1.6. So if you
Right,
started out at like 26.6,
right,
at the end of week 5, you were down to a BMI of 25.
right, right.
All right. And that's just 4 weeks on nothing but Huel. So um,
Didn't
well,
mean to
let's
sideline you.
no worries. So let's this is today. Let me start a new day. We'll go to start a new day tomorrow. Let's see what it would look like if you consumed nothing but if I consumed nothing but
The
my
Huel.
shake, my shake.
Okay.
All right, here we go. So 2 shakes a day would put me at 839 calories, 168.5 grams of protein. And then looking at all of this nutrition here, so 87% of all the targets. I mean, not bad. Look at all this stuff.
That's amazing. That's greens all over the place.
Yeah. We also have, so Chronometer also has these ratio things here, right? So percent of omega-6, ALA, or linoleic acid, looking pretty darn good. Our omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is almost optimal here. Zinc and copper, this is showing a little bit off. The potassium to sodium looks a little bit off. How much potassium is it getting? Oh, a
Oh,
ton of potassium.
16%,
Oh my goodness, yeah.
5,400 milligrams.
Yeah, so uh you could actually add some salt to this to balance that potassium to sodium ratio out, right? And calcium, magnesium. So this is pretty high in magnesium and a little low on the calcium. Well, nope, the other way around. So, yeah, omega 3s, 14 grams of omega 3s for the day. Holy smokes.
Mm.
So, yeah, even if you were just to consume, or even if I was just to consume 2 of these shakes a day, which I think I could probably do because it's, that's 12 cups of a shake. I mean, it's quite filling, but I
I
would
don't know
be,
what you would, I don't know what else you could eat after that.
yeah, you'd have one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and that would probably be it for the day. Um, yeah, and that looks pretty darn good. I mean, fiber, 46 grams of fiber out of this. Wow.
Yeah. I know that. I know that my shake in the morning or whenever I drink it, I usually drink it in the morning. I'm full for that next at
Hmm.
least until after lunch. And
Yeah.
I know my wife is she's like, are you hungry? No. You don't want to eat anything? No. Are you mad at me? No, 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 I'm full. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good research on including shakes, just protein shakes, just whey, these meal replacement shakes. A lot of good data within the broader literature showing benefits on all the things that we are concerned with: blood pressure, weight, adiposity, um, HbA1c, uh, your cholesterol levels. Really good stuff there. So yeah, so the two things that I really like using and I recommend to everybody, man, Chronometer, number one, start keeping track of everything, and you can use Chronometer to help you improve by we showed you looking up those individual sources of vitamins or minerals or whatever nutrients you're concerned with, and improving on adding more of those things into your diet. And then the other thing is Huel. So I've been recommending Huel to everybody and their mom. So I initially started out, I wanted to see if it would be a viable option for a lot of my clients. So everybody really wants to lose weight. So as this came up, um, and I do have several clients who are on GLP-1 agonists, so semaglutide or tirzepatide, and they are concerned about their getting enough nutrition. So I wanted to see how Huel would do, and I did not anticipate buying more of it. So, but I am on my third. So I just had my subscription renewed today, this morning, to have more of it coming. So this would be my third order of Huel. I'm enjoying it, especially adding everything into that one shake. So, like I said, each thing by itself doesn't taste very good, but once I added everything together in the shake, and I added those berries and the scuba protein powder, it really improved the taste of that thing overall, and the volume that shake is it's just enormous. It's almost the entire. So I have the Ninja 1100 blender, I think. It's
Oh
the
yeah, we have
Pro.
that too. We have the Ninja.
Yeah, and it holds 9 cups. I'm drinking that blender container. 2/3 of that thing is full, right? So that's what I'm consuming
That's a
in the morning.
lot.
Yeah, and it's, like, I am less hungry overall. It's really very easy to just say no to something. Um, so, but as I did see, like, I need to shift my focus away from that bodybuilder type of thing. I need to add some more fiber containing and potassium containing sources so that I can start meeting my goals a little bit better. So uh, I have been keeping track of the 30-day averages of my blood pressure, which I was not doing before. And so I would really like to see my 30-day averages of blood pressure get down below that 180, 130. So I would like to see it get as close as I can to 120 over 80. And I think that Huel is a major contributor to that. So, between early January, when I first ordered Huel and started taking it, to now, I've seen a reduction of 4 millimeters of mercury
Right.
systolic, one in my diastolic, and so I think it's a major contributor to improving my blood pressure. So
Awesome.
there you
Awesome.
go. I do not make any money off of Huel, by the way. I'm not supported by them. I'm not endorsed by them. I have to pay just like everybody else. But this is just my experience with it. Yeah, if you're concerned about getting more nutrition, as it is National Nutrition Month, I highly suggest giving Huel a try. That peanut caramel bar, I mean, it's pretty darn good. But the Huel Black is
That's
where
funny.
it's at.
That's funny.
Yep. So there you go. All right, people. Hope you got some from this, and we will see you next time. Coach Lambie and Dwayne out.
See ya.